must be the beginning. This is typically the start of forest fire season here, and already more British Columbians are out of their homes than even the notorious Kelowna fires of 2003. Bob Keating, CBC News, Kamloops.
As thousands of people sort out where they will stay for the coming days, officials are warning the situation could continue for weeks. BC Transportation Minister Todd Stone says the most important message to people in the interior right now is be prepared, regardless of whether you're already on evacuation alert.
If you live in the interior, from Osoyoos all the way up to Prince George, the backbone of our province, it is tinder dry. And what we saw happen in Lake Country yesterday, where with a small fire that erupted very quickly, that spread very, very fast, there was no time to gather one's belongings and to determine what one's evacuation plan was at a personal level. People need to be ready.
Stone says the current situation with roughly 40,000 evacuees in BC is unprecedented for this province. He's encouraging evacuees to head to the Lower Mainland if possible. Reception centres have been set up in 11 cities around BC, including Chilliwack and Surrey. Most of the evacuation alerts and orders in Lake Country north of Kelowna have been lifted after a fast-moving fire destroyed 8 homes on Saturday. Close to 70 properties nearest to the fire remain under an evacuation order. Tanya Fletcher spoke to Dave Bergen, one of the first people to spot the fire.
The grass all around through the trees was just catching. You could see while we were in there working and spraying down, it was sort of just consuming all around us.
Dave Bergen and his family were at a neighborhood barbecue nearby when the fire broke out. His friend is a firefighter, so a few of them ran over, grabbed some garden hoses, and started dousing the flames.
Once we got there, it was already basically burnt down, and then it was moving up to the garage, but then it started catching the house next to it. Their hot tub was on fire. The stairs going up to the house was on fire.
Lake Country's fire chief says this was a human-caused fire with some 300 homes affected by the evacuation.
It was a lost cause. We were lucky we didn't lose more homes in that neighborhood. And the really lucky part was that we had no injuries.
Tanya Fletcher, CBC News, Kelowna.
It's not just wildfire evacuees who've had sleepless nights over the last week. As Jesse Johnston reports, volunteers are also short on shut-eye.
Joel Gaudette seems to have plenty of energy, but the bags under his eyes reveal how hard he's been working since the evacuation center opened in Kamloops on Saturday night.
I've taken a couple breaks, not long, just like kind of 15, 20 minutes at a time, just to kind of stretch my legs and that, but I mean, we're still screaming for people to help out here, so I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, that's not entirely true. He does plan on recharging his batteries. Just a little.
Not too much longer. I think, I'm going to give it a couple more hours. We'll take another meeting there with the volunteers, and then I'm heading home for a little night's sleep. I'll probably be back here later on tonight.
After working through the night, he's earned that now. Jesse Johnston, CBC News, Kamloops.
In other news, for the 24th year, children and teens who have suffered burns over their lives are getting a chance to take part in outdoor activities in a comfortable setting. More than 70 participants between the ages of 6 and 18 are taking part in a 6-day burn survivors camp in Squamish. The children and teens get a chance to take part in outdoor activities such as swimming, hiking, and rafting. Pat Weeb is with the Abbotsford Fire Department. He says the camp is good for the youngsters' self-image.
That's a big part about camp, is they're with their peers, so to speak, that they feel comfortable, that when we go swimming at the lake, everybody's in swimsuits. You don't have to wear a shirt because you had a burn on your chest. It's just, you feel more comfortable.
Campers come from all across BC, the Yukon, and some from Saskatchewan. It's now 6:35. That's the CBC News. Thank you, Drew Caritas.
Drew Caritas in the CBC Vancouver newsroom this morning. Good Monday morning. I'm Stephen Quinn in for Rick Trump, and this is the early edition on CBC Radio 1, 690 AM, 88.1 FM in Vancouver. And Amy Bell is here with traffic and weather.
We have a little trouble on the SkyTrain. It's for the Millennium Line. There's some delays caused by a train issue. I don't know what that is.
A train issue?
Perhaps it's feeling sad.
Your train
not
has
quite
issues.
Itself. Feeling left out, or
something like that.
Yeah. Anyways.
FOMO.
I do not have that. I have FOGO, fear of going out.
Yeah.
That's what I've labeled it. Regardless, there's trouble with the Millennium Line, so that's at Logie Station. We'll keep you posted. Stalled semi on Highway 99 southbound just before the Massey Tunnel. Not blocking a lane, but it is slow. And we are definitely seeing volume picking up for all the major routes. You can always call me at Starbound 690 if you see any trouble out there. No trouble in the weather today. Highs up to 25 inland with sunny skies. A little bit more cloud overnight and a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow with a high anywhere from 24 to 27. A mix of sun and cloud for Wednesday. Thursday, we have a good chance of showers, though, and in fact, we see that system moving through most of the province, so that will bring, unfortunately, the chance of gusty winds and thunderstorms, but it could bring some showers to areas that do need it, but we'll keep you posted. For the most part, we're still looking hot and sunny across most of the province. I would say all of the province almost, except for the little northwest corner, which is not where we need the wet weather.
No.
But regardless, well, that's what we got.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Amy Bell, checking traffic and weather for us. It's 23 minutes before 7 o'clock, and coming up, 2 evacuation reception centers have now opened up in the Lower Mainland. We're going to speak with Chilliwack Mayor Sharon Gates about what her community is doing to help those people who have been affected by the wildfires, the people who've headed south. That coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, we head off to the National Sports Desk and say good morning to Joe Cummings. Good morning.
Stephen Quinn, why don't we head off to Wimbledon? Yet another remarkable performance from Roger Federer and yet another Wimbledon crown. The 35-year-old winning the men's singles title yesterday, beating Marin Cilic in straight sets. Everything Federer does ends up in a straight set victory. For Federer, that's his 8th career victory at Wimbledon, and he moves past Pete Sampras and William Renshaw as the most successful men's player in the tournament's history.
Wimbledon was always my favorite tournament, will always be my favorite tournament, and my heroes walked the grounds here and walked the courts here, and because of them, I think I became a better player too. To mark history here at Wimbledon really means a lot to me.
Yeah, and a lot to the fans, too. Just sensational watching this guy find his second gear. Federer's 19th career Grand Slam title, and that's his second Grand Slam victory this year. Remember, he won at the Australian back in January. Next up, the U.S. Open in September, and do not bet against him. The Blue Jays had a tough weekend in Detroit, dropping 2 of 3 to the Tigers. Detroit winning the finale yesterday afternoon 6-5 in 11 innings. The winning run coming in the 11th on a bases-loaded walk. The ugliest way imaginable to lose a baseball game. So now it's on to Boston for a 4-game series at Fenway against those Red Sox. Boston in first place in the American East. A second straight loss for the Vancouver Canadians yesterday at home at the Nat against Hillsborough. The Canadians going down 6-1. They've got 3 more games to go in this long 5-game series against the Hops. Game 3 again tonight. Canadian sprinter Andre DeGrasse posting another win over the weekend. This was a Diamond League event in Morocco.
He got away well and right on the inside. Dwyer of Jamaica going stronger. DeGrasse has got a lot of work to do. Right on the inside of DeGrasse is Amir Webb, and now comes DeGrasse charging through the inside of DeGrasse. Is going to take this one, and he takes it in the end. He gets it there ahead of Amir Webb, who really dominated on the bend. It's a meeting record, 20.03.
The story there, a slow start, but DeGrasse just always seems to find a second level, and he got it again yesterday. 200-meter victory. He's now won 4 straight Diamond League races, and he moves on to London in next month's World Championships. The LPGA U.S. Open held over the weekend in New Jersey, a golf course owned by the President of the United States. Canadian Brooke Henderson finishing 13th. She came in at 3 under par. South Korea's Sung-Hoon Park, the winner. She finished at 11 under. And I'm sure you've heard by now that this year's North American Indigenous Games underway in the city of Toronto. Wonderful. The opening ceremonies held last night. A little concerned that these games might get lost in the hue and cry of Toronto. A lot of events get swallowed up in the noise of Toronto. So far, though, I think they're surviving. There is a buzz. People are talking about this, and that's good to hear. First time ever this event held west of Western Canada, the Western U.S., so far so good. 5,000 athletes on hand. We'll be streaming live all through the week at cbc.ca. Mr. Quinn, for now, for this hour, that is all I have to say.
Joe Cummings, thank you so much.
You bet.
Joe Cummings at the National Sports Desk, 19 minutes before 7 o'clock on the early edition on CBC Radio 1. Well, every Monday this month, we're launching our listeners on a trip across the universe in a segment we're calling Cosmic Monday. Our tour guide is UBC astrophysicist